Welcome, Tiny Hands, Big Dreams, here on the homestead in southern Ecuador. So this is our official announcement. We have piglets. It's part of our Superpigs program, which is another whole video you should check out. We're playing with genetics to create Superpigs, the best of like a bunch of different conditions. It's working. But piglets, they're just really cute. It's the output of Mrs. Piggles, who's a Criollo, what is known as sort of
like a heritage breed.
A heritage breed, which probably mostly goes back to the Spanish
Iberian
pigs. And then there's Wilby, or Wilbur, or Wilbykins, or
depends on the day.
Freaking giant oafs stop destroying your water post. So we love Wilby. He's very nice. It's a gianty oaf. But what he is a gianty oaf of meat. Lots of meat. He has the more muscly genetics as part of his makeup, blended with some other things. We're not entirely sure. He was sort of a lucky find.
He was an accident.
He was an accident.
It was a great accident.
But he is an exemplary pig. Like, he had a lot of the things we were looking for, and we just wanted one step further towards a little more fat versus meat. So that's Wilbur.
So this is kind of the setup. You know, yes, we have piglets. It's super fun. It's awesome. We do have to do a bit of work to set up for the piglets.
Like, what's involved in having piglets? Like, oh, it's fun. I want to have some. Sure, what's involved? So we're going to walk through at least this little part of the saga. We've done other videos on like setting up the electric fence and some other interesting parts.
To sort of preface, we do things pretty naturally with the pigs. They are out in the forest/jungle. So we do not have houses for them. We do not confine them in any way. We do the electric fence, and otherwise they're just living their best pig lives.
They're actually terraforming for us. And we will show it a little later in the video. There's it's actually our future final house site. And they're actually taking a hill and sort of terracing it out and flattening areas and digging out big old stumps, like huge, massive old stumps, like just rooting around for the bugs, tearing them up. So they're actually helping us.
Yep. So the first thing to do, we needed to separate the two pigs. It was getting a little bit rowdy.
We put them together some months ago.
That was very successful. Successful.
Yep.
But as Mrs. Piggles got closer and closer to farrowing, Wilbur just got nasty and annoying, and she was stressed, and they just needed to be separated. So the first task was to move what we call the house, which is really just a roof.
It's just two pieces of roof sheet metal that we've moved from place to place to place to place.
It gives her a little bit of shelter. It also gives her a little bit of the home base. She knows it. She knows to go there. So moving that is pretty simple. You sort of just bushcraft it together.
I did. So we picked a spot close to the electric fence for our benefit. It was just out in the middle of their area, which was great for her. But we wanted it closer so we could check on her, check on the piglets.
We know from experience that sometimes you need to be able to shrink a piglet. And you want to be able to reach over the electric fence if you need to grab a piglet for any reason and not be in the area, because she does not always enjoy that.
Yeah.
And it gives everybody a little bit of safety and protection. It's a little bit easier. It's closer to us. We don't have to trudge through the muck.
Yeah, so we set her up an area. We put the roof there. Bushcraft, just some sticks. Like, it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be like crazy engineered structure.
It's not permanent because we move it around depending on the areas. So. And
then the only other thing we did was we put a board against the electric fence to block it, so that she had a protective area for the piglets to where they wouldn't just bump the electric fence
right away. Like now they're starting to sort of wander off.
Like a crib board.
Yeah. These are all things we learned with the first time.
Yeah.
That we sort of had to scramble last time of like, oh, well, we need to do this sort of after the fact. So this time we had a little bit of a better plan starting out. Part of that was also setting the fence down a bit.
We set the fence down because with the gianty pigs, like you can have a huge gap on the bottom, which is easier for weeds touching it. You don't clear as much, but they'll just run under it. Now they'll go back too, but we're trying to train them to the fence. We don't want them to get used to going in and out.
Yeah, we want them to learn that they can.
And the last ones, they were born here, they were raised here, they learned that fence. They never left.
No.
They weren't interested in leaving. They didn't try to leave.
I don't even know if they realized they could.
They never pushed the fence.
Yeah.
So training to the fence really is kind of the best answer.
Yeah. So then we needed to move Mrs. Piggles, which meant opening up a pathway between the two areas, which were I don't know how many feet that pathway was. It was just a path so that we could get in between their areas.
We have a no man's land, which is a walkway between the areas. It's about 3 feet in most places. And that means we have a double fence. And that's actually good because when we had a single fence, we had some issues with them when Ms. Pickles was in heat and we get all interested. And they could just about nose touch. And then the closer they are, the more agitated they were getting about it.
It's giving them a lot of stress.
So a couple of feet of distance is enough to keep the pheromone scent trail less intense.
Yeah. So
but we had to cut it, move it, and make a little corridor between the areas.
Yeah. So we did that, and our intention was we'll let them both wander. This wasn't a rush. I didn't want to stress her out. So we'll let them both just sort of wander back and forth, and then hopefully they both end up in their separate correct areas and we go and close it. I got the wild hair at some point. I'm just going to go up and see if I can convince Mrs. Pickles to go over the fence. She is historically very cautious of going over fence lines. So I thought I'd start the process early. Ended up just sort of doing it. Everybody just cooperated. Eli came up with me we'll go see the pigs and the thing. She went over and then Wilbur went over. She was very pleased with her less muddy, less boy-infested area. It was great. And then Wilbur went over, and I'm like, oh, I can get him back.
She was very receptive of
a new area.
This is mine now.
She was so excited.
Just me.
And I managed to get him back over with a bucket of corn.
He's a simple pig.
And then he snagged it out of my hand, which really tells you how big he is. He's just a monster. And they ended up, we got it all done in half an hour, and they were separated, and it worked great. And they didn't either one push the fence. No, it's great.
Yeah. One thing for electric fences is we added a disconnect. So the main hot wire that comes in from far away and then comes down, and it's actually just suspended on a piece of plastic string to a tree. But I have it tied to a piece of plastic pipe, and then there's a little metal hook on it. Well, I also put a little slot in the piece of plastic pipe. So I can pull it down, and I can hook the metal to the fence line, and then the fence is live. Or I can take it and disconnect it, lift it up, and then, the pipe has a cut in it, and I can just hook the pipe on the fence, which gives me a 6-inch insulator gap.
Now that's a huge benefit because it was
we had to come all the way down and turn it off.
All the way down the hill, turn it on and off, which was super irritating when you're trying to move pigs and you're it needs to be off, but we need to be able to turn it on quickly. Okay. Right, so Miss Piggles is moved.
Mrs. Piggles is moved.
She goes straight for her house. She knows
we reconnected. We have space again. We had originally created a bridge spot before to where I could easily disconnect the wires and move them between posts, and it was all lovely and built in.
We had such
and then Wilby
hopes there.
Dug the area down. I think it's 4 feet deep of a cliff there now. It was like this, and now, nope. It is a 4-foot vertical cliff.
There was no way we were getting
below the fence. We go over and we
he's down there.
I can drop food on your head. So we had to make it a new spot. Slightly annoying, but
it worked out just fine.
It worked out.
Yeah.
Now.
So she goes straight in. She's messed around. She's happy, and she goes straight for her little area, her roof.
She knows the roof.
She knows the roof.
She sees it. And she sits down. She's just pleased as punch.
So we moved her 2-3 weeks before her due date.
It was about 2 weeks.
I would have liked it maybe a week earlier, but we had to harvest the last pigs.
Yeah.
So timing and
we have a whole cycle that
which we have a video on that whole process.
And it's a 7-month cycle of flopping the pigs back and forth between areas.
And it works well. We just cut that one a little close. Weather dependent things. It's what it is. And so then about a day or two before her due date, she started nesting.
And this is interesting did you ever know that pigs nest? So if you see pigs, they're on the farm, they're on concrete, they give birth. She nests.
Mhm.
And it's this really crazy fun thing to watch, like a bird. And she'll go and she'll gather, twigs and branches and roots and things, and she'll make a huge, like, bird nest.
For her giant body.
I had no idea that pigs do this. So this time we're prepared for it, and we told the kid, like go and check on her, and when you see that she's starting to nest, okay, go and cut her a whole bunch of like brush and stuff. And he's like, oh, she's doing it. She's tearing up roots. Okay.
Yeah, she would just tear up. Or watch her just tearing up roots.
Anything.
She was anything. So we were leaves and some wood shavings and all of the branches and things she wanted.
She nosed them all around and made them just right. Like, this is a weird natural instinct.
I know.
And it's not something I've ever seen on a video of like other people raising pigs.
It's fun to watch.
It is fun to watch.
The other thing we do, we know these things now. That the first time we didn't realize she does not like to leave her nest then for pretty much a solid week. She doesn't want to go anywhere to drink water, to eat food, anything.
She won't go to her like poop corner. No.
She will leave the exact, like, her little nest, but otherwise, like, she's not going to go far. So we bring in her food dish, and we also give her a dish of water instead of just like the water nipple.
We have a nipple connected to the hose. She won't go there.
She'll go that far.
She'll just not drink for a week.
Yeah, this was incredibly concerning the first time. Not knowing her, not knowing that much about this process. There was no firsthand experience. So now we know, okay, like food and water right next to her, which has helped, I think, with her drinking and eating a little bit more this time, which is good for her. So, yeah, that's pretty much, that was sort of our lead up to the pigs.
So then... yeah, so we're getting closer, and she's nesting, and we're watching her, and she's huge at this point. Like, her milk came in, like...
She was dripping milk.
A third of, like, take her body, take a third of it, and add it again, and it's just like this milk tanker underneath her.
Dragging around in the mud.
It's, I mean, there's like 4 gallons, 5 gallons, like, slung under this pig. Yeah, she's literally, she just plows a trail with like little paw marks off to the side. So we're like, okay, she's close. So we're checking on her, we're checking on her. All of a sudden, she sort of lays down.
She'd been laying down for a while. I went up and checked on her, and I was just looking at her. I'm like, you're checking out. You've stopped your conscious like thought here, and you're just going into a weird zone. Oh, okay.
No, she's laying down now. Okay, this is probably it.
So we went up and checked.
Yeah. And we're checking again. And she, last time was at night.
It was overnight, yeah.
It was
overnight. We totally
overnight.
missed the whole thing.
Woke up to squeals.
Which was great, but we just missed it. So this time I'm like, okay, well, it's like 9:30. We're like,
it's after dinner.
Let's go check one more time. Like,
yep. So I walk up there and I trudge, and it's up through a muddy trail and a thing, and over sticks and stuff. And and I get up there and I'm like,
oh, there's a piglet. I'm so excited. So we ended up standing up there for like an hour and a half.
We did.
We kept being like, well, we should go out. Like, it's late. We have things to do. Like,
and then 10 or 15 minutes later, and you'd see her sort of labor again, and then just shoot out a piglet. Pow! We're like, whoa!
Yeah, all the different colors and things.
Like, what's the next one going to be? It's actually really exciting.
It is really exciting. And no, we didn't video any of it. We were sort of standing there like, well, we could go back if we really want to.
So it was this really sort of wonderful, magical night. It was the most stars I think we've ever seen here. It was warm. It was just...
it was an absolutely beautiful night.
It was impeccably awesome as a night. We just sort of stood out there and just watched our pig give birth.
It was good.
It's good. It's not something I've ever gotten to do before in my life. I recommend it. So
we seven piglets, and then we watch, and then we're like, okay, well, it was about 10 or 15 minutes between piglets.
Right.
Okay, so we're way past that. We're 20, 25, 30. We're like, okay.
And then she
would like get up more, and she was just like,
she'd go and she'd lay down.
And I'm like, okay. Well, she's still sort of laboring, but very mildly. Like, okay, I think we're probably done, and she's just working on afterbirth placenta stuff. Okay, so we'll call it. It's like 11:30. I'm tired. So okay, we all go to bed, and we get up the next morning. Of course, I want to go check. So I go and check. I'm like, there's 8. Where'd you come
Bonus
from?
pig!
Bonus pig. That's great. Okay.
It's so exciting.
And all of the correct looking after birth, everything seems right. She seems tired. Okay, I'm gonna leave her alone. And this is where things took a turn. It's easy when you look back at a situation to see signs that maybe you didn't at the time. I can look back now and go, she was probably not okay. Our guess is that last piglet was, who knows how long she labored with that piglet. My guess is it was positioned incorrectly, even though all the others were great. I sort of assumed everything was going to go fine after that. I think it was positioned incorrectly. I think she labored for a long time. And I think that she probably just bottomed out all of her energy, all of her everything. And she sort of went comatose. I mean, she was conscious, but she was not reactive to us. She
that point, just there's a level of exhaustion to where you see stuff happening around you, and it doesn't even matter if the house is on fire. You're
just like, I can't physically,
and
I can't
her,
emotionally, I can't.
And I'm up there, and she opened her eyes, and she sort of looked around, and then she just peed. Just laying down, just peed. Just I heard just rushing water. I'm like, what?
She's never done before. She will at least always get up and go at least a couple feet away from the piglets.
And I'm like, that's weird.
I was like, okay, I'm trying to just let nature be nature. Yeah, I don't think she was capable of taking care of the piglets at that time, honestly. And this is where you get into you could intervene.
She lost the ability to be aware.
It wasn't she wasn't being violent or aggressive or intentional about any of it, but she just was not able to even really notice that anything was going on around her. And that was the main thing, is that we could just go up and pet her and pet the piglets, and she was fine with it. And that should have been the first clue that something was off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
then there was it that next morning?
No, it was the night. It was the night after she gave birth.
That was right. It was that night, and we go up, and there's a piglet that's missing.
Yeah, and that's a bad sign.
We're looking around. We're looking. Did one leave? Did it?
Oh, that's not good.
She's on it. She's laying on it. She's a big pig. Nope.
No,
it didn't make it. Okay.
And this happened multiple more times.
That happened that night, and then the next morning there was another one.
And then the next day.
And another one.
Yeah.
So 3 went in pretty quick succession, and then
she sort of came back a bit to herself.
She was so low on energy, and then she's also still trying to deal with now this pile of piglets, and they're nursing, and so she's not actually resting because she's still sort of there unconscious trying to do that.
As a mom, I can't imagine.
So she finally, I guess, got a little bit of sleep, got a little bit of recovery.
She was doing better for about a day or two.
And then sort of okay.
We kind of okay, that's good. It was the one morning I didn't go up and check on her. I usually check on her first thing in the morning. I just didn't. It was muddy, and I'm like, she's probably fine. She's been better. It'll be okay. So he goes up to feed them and stuff. And he comes back. He's like, he's got bad news. So we are now down to 4 piglets.
4
out of 8. Now this is not the plan.
It's not the plan.
It's not the plan. So
right. So that wasn't the plan. Now we've bragged about Mrs. Pickles before and how she's so great. And people complain, about they rolled over things. We watched one video where the guy walks up, famous YouTuber homesteader guy, and he's just like, ate another one, huh? Okay. And it was just sort of indifferent and cold, and that struck us. No, Mrs. Pickles was excellent. She's so careful. So this was really very surprising, out of character, out of but and we bragged about her how she's so careful as a pig. That's part of why we picked her as a genetic stock, is the natural instincts to mother.
Unfortunately, illness, lack of energy, exhaustion, that kind of trumps all your genetics.
Yeah,
all animals are going to struggle to take care of young in that situation. It's fact.
So our plan with the piglets was we were hoping for about that many. We're going to keep 2 or 3 for here, and then we were going to sell the rest. And we can sell the rest to pay for the bulk of the food for the pig program.
Yep.
That's the plan.
That was the plan. So the 8 was just absolutely perfect. We're like, yeah. That's
So we've lost the bulk of what would now pay for the food for the pig plan. Most, like 80% of it's gone.
And if you farm, if you homestead, you know, while there's the emotional aspect of losing animals, it is also financial. It is the food you eat. It's a million other sort of non-emotional things as well that go on.
It's
logical, emotional, all of that all at once.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit rough.
It's been a bit rough.
It's been a bit rough. So, now that's a bit of a downer. It's the reality, and I guess that's important. I sort of considered leaving this part out of this video, being like, "Look, there's 8 piglets. It's great."
we debated that. That's the video right there.
Because
it's good. Everybody loves
fun
it.
And cute and wonderful. We put up a short just right after they were born of 8, and it was great, and it ate and great.
But you know, there's maybe too much of the scripted, perfected, retouched, digitally edited life out there. There's not enough actual life, actual things, like actual learning experiences from people doing things. A lot of that is sort of going by the wayside. We're trying to be truthful about the whole thing. We're trying to stick to what is the reality.
Yep. So that's the reality. We have 4 piglets. They're real cute. They're doing well. Mrs. Pickles is
3 girls and 1 boy.
She's doing all right. She's
she's fighting. She's got a bit of an infection.
Yeah.
And some swelling on the back end. So we're fighting that a little bit. We're up there multiple times a day with some stuff.
But we're trying, and I don't think this is the end of our pig program or anything. But it's a bit of a setback. And the financial hit is pretty big. When you're
for us in our situation right now
together all the time, and you're like, okay, well, I was looking at these piglets. I'm like, well, we can keep 3, and we can sell 5. Hopefully $500, which is a huge chunk of money to us. And that is now gone.
Yeah.
So, if you feel so inclined.
If you think what we're doing is valuable and you've learned something and you're in the position to help, we have a coffee link at the bottom, which is actually it's for our roof, like for our new house, so we can try to afford a roof. It could also be for food for us and the pigs. If you're inclined, gosh, we would appreciate the heck out of it. We try to bring interesting content and things in our life of us on the edge of the Amazon. We're doing something a bit bizarre.
Unique. All those words. And I understand that a lot of people are not in the position to monetarily help. I have never been in the position to monetarily help anyone, let alone myself. Geez. But also liking, subscribing, sharing, it really helps us a lot. So
send it to some people. They could help us. Well, that is our story of our new Wiggles. There will be more updates as time goes on. So thanks for watching. We'll see you for the next one.